It may not appear it, but I am really exhausted right now, and I blame my dog. She's been waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how my dad puts up with it. Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today's video will be talking about my novel writing and my process of novel writing and what advice I can give to current novel writing people. So let's dig in. My novel, I'm going to keep tight-lipped about what it's about and everything, but essentially a dark fantasy, well not really, but yeah, dark, but not... Yeah, it's dark. It's not Game of Thrones dark, but it's dark. So yeah, essentially a dark fantasy novel, and it essentially follows a girl who finds her true identity, really. Don't know how else to describe it. I've actually officially been writing this novel for nearly probably a year now, and I'm only really on the 5th chapter, and there are many reasons why. People say don't be excusing it, and a part of me thinks that I'm excusing it sometimes, but I have a really hectic life when it's not summertime, as I started writing it in the summertime when I had more time, but since I'm a university student, throughout the 9 months I'm at uni, I'm in classes or doing projects and everything like that, and sometimes when I come home I'm so utterly exhausted that I cannot do any writing. I just collapse on the bed. So yeah, it's not really an excuse, and it's just more of a reason. I did try and get into writing most of the time when I did have the time, but you know, when I did have the time I just wanted to relax. So, and while I don't see writing as a chore, sometimes the way I wanted to relax is just watch TV. I just like, oh, and just nap. So yeah, that's why I'm only really on 5 chapters, but at the same time I have written a lot in those 4 chapters. It's around 5 or 4 chapters, and I have written a lot. I think I've written up to nearly 20,000 words, which people will be stunned by a little bit because they're just like, whoa, and I'm just like, I've written more in a book. So yeah, I'm actually really disappointed with how much I've written so far. So yeah, but I try and look at it positively, that, you know, I am making some progress. So far I've been trying to get into writing like twice a week. I know that doesn't sound a lot, and trust me, I am beating myself up about it a lot, but I'm sort of getting myself back into it, as well as the fact that I have so much going on. It may be the summer again, but I'm not as free as I used to be, as my 3rd year is coming up, and I'm hoping to go on to do a master's, so I'm doing some research about universities for a master's. And yeah, it is a busy time for me, so I'm trying to fit in as much as I can, as well as do these videos. So yeah, I'm getting on to chapter 5, I believe. I get so confused by what chapters they are, because I either change the chapters or mill them together, because it was originally 3 chapters altogether that I've done, but then I started like cutting them down because the chapters were too long sometimes. So yeah, but I'm essentially kicking myself into gear a little bit as well, because I really love the story that I'm writing, but at the same time I've always had my insecurity about writing it, because I don't, the story that I've created in my head by literally running into a wall, long story, the story I created in my head, or imagined in my head, I always felt I wasn't really a good enough writer to write it, and people may be like, oh, Rose, you shouldn't put yourself down, but I think my fellow writers may understand in a way that when you're writing so much of a great idea, what is a great idea to you anyway, you can get really insecure about it and think to yourself, am I going to let the story down by my writing techniques? Am I going to let the characters down by writing it how I see it? So, because essentially, while the characters and the fictional world you're creating isn't real, it is real to you, if that makes sense. So I didn't want to at first I didn't want to write it because I was so scared that I was going to let both the characters and the story down, because even though my writing has improved since I was younger, my dyslexia still holds me back a little bit from when it comes to writing. But my friend would just like to write it, Rose. Just write it, and you can't let it down because you're the one who created it. So even though I still have my type of insecurities about it, I am writing it and I am feeling pretty good about it so far. So I'm essentially kicking myself back into it a little bit now. And the way I'm doing that is, one advice is to have a hot drink with you. I got my mocha right now. I've been getting into drinking like coffee like things. I think this has coffee in it. Mocha does, doesn't it? And that's how shows how much I know about coffee. Because I normally drink tea, but now I'm getting into coffee. Well, starting with mocha, then going up a little bit. But anyway, I'm not talking about my drinks. Just have like a hot drink or even a cold drink with you if you don't really like hot drinks. And have a little snack on the side so you don't have to get up and essentially break your distraction by getting some food. Nothing too big either, because if you're eating something big then you'll get distracted anyway. So get like some grapes or berries or whatever you like, and just put them on the side so whenever you get a little bit nippy you could just have a little snack and everything as you're writing. Yeah, so that's one of the tips that I'm sort of giving to you guys. And another tip of mine is to, many people like to write in silence, but I'm more of a musical person when it comes to writing. Like, I have to listen to something, and I listen to instrumental. Is that how you pronounce it? I mainly listen to instrumental music or background music or something like that, like something that suits the mood of what I'm writing. So if I'm writing a particularly sad scene, I put in some sad, slow background music or instrumental music. And then if I'm writing like a very actional piece, then I put on a very dramatic adventure type music in the background. Do you see where I'm going with this? So yeah, I sort of do that, and it sort of gets my mind in the mood, so then I'm able to type away and get into my zone a little bit. But also, my other advice is when you don't feel like writing, don't necessarily force it. I know that's saying a lot coming from me, because I am still on chapter 5, or going on to chapter 5, and I have been writing this for nearly a year, and my inspiration has gone down a little bit due to all the chaos that's been going on in my life. But I never wanted to force the writing that for the novel, because I would feel like it was wrong, and then I would have to just rewrite it and adjust it all over again. And you know, that's my dog. Do you want to come in? Silly dog. I've got to mind my dog in here now. Not very happy with her after she woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But essentially, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, don't force the writing. Basically, when I say don't force the writing, just maybe do something else that is related to your story. Like what I've been doing recently, if I haven't felt the inspiration or the words for the scene I'm writing or for the story, I've made like this Wikipedia sort of thing, fan-based thing. If you know if you're a fandom fan, then you know what I'm talking about with that kind of thing. I essentially made that sort of thing where I've done with like characters, places and everything like that for my novel. So I essentially focused on that, and you may be wondering to yourself, what's the difference between the two, because you're still creating something. Well, for me, it's more creatively fact-based. And then, because when you're writing a... Yes? Dog? Apologies. Essentially, when you're writing a scene, you have to think, well, you have to like really get into it. But when you're writing about facts and things that you've already know, things you've already jotted down, it's essentially organising it into a little schedule sort of thing. You're right. You got the sneezels. Got the sneezels. Sorry. Yeah, so like I've already sort of written all of this down, so it's me just organising what's happening and what's happened in the past. So when I go on to write in my novel things that are all happening and how the past influenced them, then I can just, and if I momentarily forgotten it, I can just go back and just look at the paperwork and be like, okay, that's what happened. And if I need to change anything, I can just go back as well. Hello. Come here. Come here. Ugh, I have to stretch out to her. She doesn't want to move. So yeah, so that's what I do if I don't necessarily feel like carry on writing the scenes that I am or the story. So I'm still essentially contributing to the story, but I'm not forcing the ideas out of my head. Does that make sense? So yeah, don't force the words, don't force the writing, because, you know, if you're writing a particularly horrible, sad scene or an important scene, it can come off as not very dramatic, if that makes sense. Yes, I know, I see you. I see you. Do you want to join? Is that what you... She's gotten very vain recently. Do you want to join? Come on. No? I think she wants to go for a walk. I'll take you for a walk in a minute, okay? I've got to finish this video. You can blame the fans. Well, if I have any fans. Take you for a walk in a minute, yeah? Take you for a walk in a minute. So, yeah. So that's what I do. I'm going to be hopefully writing a bit tonight, as well as doing some more character profiles and everything like that. But that's where I'm going to leave it, because she's very impatient and wants a walk. Don't you? Yeah, and now she's scratching herself. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. But let me know, guys, if you're writing a novel, and let me know if you have any advice for me or advice for how I can produce more videos regarding this. Just comment down below. Bye, guys.